Hey, I'm Dr. Toby, physical therapist and health coach. Thank you for coming to check out our channel. In this video, I want to help out runners who are struggling with hip pain. If you're a runner and you want to be able to run longer distances and increase your mileage and improve the quality of run without having that hip pain, then stay tuned for this video because I'm going to share some helpful information with you. By the way, we're a physical therapy and wellness company, and we help you to stay healthy, pain-free, fit, and mobile. So hit that subscribe button so you can stay connected to all of the videos that we make to help you achieve your fitness and your health goals. If you're a runner, check out our runner playlist because we have a series of videos that will help you out. All right, let's get right into this topic today, because running is something that people love to do in all seasons, even when it's the winter time, and even at different times of the year, people love to run. But when hip pain becomes a problem, that's a barrier to being able to run, and a lot of people don't know why they have hip pain. And so one of the best ways that you can understand why you're having hip pain is to talk to a PT first. Physical therapists are experts in orthopedic and musculoskeletal issues, so if you're having hip pain that's related to something in terms of the joint or in terms of the ligaments or in terms of your muscles, then physical therapists are going to be the best people to help you understand exactly what's going on and to prevent it from happening or from worsening. So there's a link in our description if you want to have a free conversation with a physical therapist to get exactly what you need to be doing. But in this video, I'm going to show you some basic things that are going to be extremely important for preventing and stopping that hip pain. Let's get right into it. So one of the things that's really important when it comes to being able to get rid of hip pain is making sure that you've done a couple things to optimize the spacing of your hip joint. So you might feel like there's a catching or a sharp pain. And so one of the things that you can do is a psoas stretch. And an easy way to do this before you actually start running is to do it while you're standing. So there are a lot of ways to do this exercise, and there's different variations, but I'm going to show you a basic one. So assuming that I have some discomfort or pain in my right hip when I run, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get into a staggered stance where one foot is in front of the other, and I'm going to put the hip that has discomfort and pain and put that leg in the back. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be thrusting my hips forward while making sure I kind of tuck my hips. So I don't want to really just be arching my back. That's not necessarily going to be the most comfortable position for you. So right there, I'm going to feel a little bit of a stretch there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to reach over to the side just like this. Okay, so I'm leaning over to the side, reaching, creating some more passive tension. And what that's doing is going to help to stretch out one of the hip flexor muscles, or a group of hip flexor muscles that are sometimes, when they're really tight, can cause some impingement or cause increased pain or discomfort. So this is something that you may want to do prior to a run. And again, everyone has different conditions, so this is by no means prescriptive, but for your educational purposes. And so if you're wondering what things may be really contributing to it, one of the best ways is to talk to a PT, but this is really helpful in terms of stretching. And depending on what type of runner you are, whether a distance runner or a sprinter or a cross-country runner, things like that, there are different reps and sets that you may want to do, but starting off with 10-second holds and 5 reps, or 5 sets I should say, will be helpful for you. So same thing, I'll demonstrate from the other side so you can kind of get an idea. Thrust those hips, lean to that side, right? 10 seconds is probably the lowest you want to hold it, moving from there, going to 15, 20, 30 seconds, and maybe you're doing 30 seconds, dropping down to about 3 reps to kind of help out. Now, the other thing that you want to realize is that I'm going to teach you something that's a bonus. So when you have stretched, one of the things that's important that you also want to do is you want to mobilize. And mobilizing your hip is a really important thing to do, because when you're stretching, you're not necessarily putting your body in the only position that your body's going to be in when you're running. So for example, typical run, people have different forms, which is another thing, but the point is that you want to mobilize that hip, meaning getting it as much mobility as possible. So this is one activity, but what you can do that might even be more helpful to increase that mobility, especially if you are a runner who's running on trails or varying surfaces and things like that, having that mobility in the hip so that the hip doesn't feel restricted, starts to jam when you're contacting the surface, in different forms, because imagine if you're running on a trail or uneven surface or things like that, right? Your foot's going to be hitting the ground, your position is going to be altering the angle of your joint, and if there's lack of mobility, that can be a challenge. So basic exercise, taking it to that full range, all the way up and extending, right? So there's mobility, there's stretching, there's mobility, and then stability is another thing. So once you mobilize, you want your muscles to be ready to protect the joint. A lot of times when the joint is unstable, for lack of a better term, what happens is, like I said, at that point where maybe your body's fatigued, your muscles are fatigued, there's a lack of stability. So you want to prime your muscles for stabilizing. So a lunge is a really great activity. And so when you're doing a lunge for the purpose of stability, right, making sure that you give some nice little holds at the bottom. It's going to be good. And as you can see, I'm dipping all the way through that range and doing a switch. So there are a couple things you may want to incorporate into your routine before you run. If you're having hip pain, and when you're talking about doing a stability type of routine prior to exercise, you don't necessarily need to do 30 reps. You don't want to feel like you've already extremely worked out your body, but you do want to prepare your muscles for activity, prepare your muscles to stabilize and protect the joint. So starting off with 15, 10 reps, 20 to kind of get those muscles prepared. And that's going to be a great sequence. So starting off with that stretch that we talked about, then mobilizing that hip. This is just one mobilization exercise. If you're feeling some more inner kind of groin kind of pain, another way to mobilize is lifting that leg up and opening it. So these are like hip openers, just opening those hips. And you don't want to do a lot of these prior to running, maybe just about 10. You don't want to feel like a strain. So stretching, mobility, stability is going to be really important. So hopefully you found this video helpful. If you did, like it and let us know in the comments what you found most helpful about it. If you know somebody who can benefit from this video, share it with them. And thanks for subscribing to our channel. We'll see you in the next video.